Okay, this video is going to be over notes number 3, solving multi-step equations. So we've gone over 1 and 2 steps, so this one will have more than 1 step or more than 2 steps in solving the problem. So just like all our other solving our other equations, our ultimate goal is to get the variable by itself. So we want to get variable by itself, or we could say we want to isolate the variable. So whenever I mean this, we want to get our variable to one side of the equal sign, and it'd be the only thing on that side. So whenever we do that, our first step is always distribute. If we have parentheses, we have to make sure we distribute. If there's no distributing, we're going to go on to our second step, which is combine like terms. Now, whenever I say combine like terms, make sure you combine your like terms. Either make sure you combine like terms that are on one side of the equal sign and then combine like terms that are on the other side of the equal sign. You cannot combine like terms across the equal sign. So cannot do across equal sign. Now our next step, once we've distributed and combined our like terms, we're going to continue doing it like we've done previously. We're going to undo addition or subtraction. And then we're going to undo our multiplication or division. Oops. So I'm going to go over what our inverses are for all of our operations. So the inverse for addition is subtraction. The inverse for subtraction is addition. The inverse for multiplication is division. And the inverse for multiplication or for division is multiplication. So we've gone over these quite a bit. So make sure, I'm hoping you should know these by now. Okay, so let's go down and let's start solving these problems. So our first step is we see parentheses, so we're going to distribute. So whenever we distribute, we multiply. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 6 is 12. Equals 16. We can see on this side that there's nothing we can combine. We can see on this side that there's nothing to combine, so we're going to leave it. So now we're going to undo our addition and subtraction. So we're going to draw our lines. What we do to one side of the equal, we have to do to the other. We're going to subtract 12 on both sides. Cancels, we're left with 2x. 16 minus 12 is 4. And then our last step is to divide by 2. This leaves us with just x. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, let's go on to the next one. There's no parentheses to distribute, so then we have to think, okay, are there terms that I can combine on this side? So there's a 6x and a 3x, so we can combine those. We cannot combine the negative 12 with anything, so we're just going to leave it by itself. So we're going to combine 6x and 3x. We're going to add them together because they're the same sign, so we're going to get 9x minus 12 equals 6. Now we solve it. We got to add 12 to both sides because we want to undo our addition or subtraction first. We're left with 9x equals 18. And then to get 9 by itself, we have to divide. 9 divided by 9 will be 1. 18 divided by 9 is going to give you 2. Okay, number 3. Number 3 is exactly like what we did on number 2. It's just stuff is flipped on the sides, and that is perfectly okay. Doesn't matter whether you solve with the variable on the left or the variable on the right. Normally, we solve with the variable on the left, but it is okay to do either. So -6 is all by itself, so I'm going to look on this side. Is there any terms that I can combine? There's a 4t. Is there another t? Yes. So I can combine 4t and -2t. Positive 2 is just going to be by itself. So I'm going to get -6 equals 4t minus 2t is going to give us 2t plus 2. Now, I want to undo my addition or subtraction first. So we don't want to mess with the 2t because that's held together by multiplication. We want to get rid of the positive 2. So we're going to subtract 2 on both sides. -2 and -6 is going to give you -8. And then to get t by itself, I'm going to divide by 2. So you're probably like, you're like, this looks totally different. Yes, but we can flip what's on each side of the equal sign. And at the very beginning, if you want to take this entire problem and just flip what side of the equal sign stuff is on, you have to flip everything. So I do 4t plus 2 minus 2 equals, sorry, I'm running out of room, -6. Here, I'm going to erase that and redo it. So if you want to do 4t plus 2 minus 2t equals -6, you can do that. That is the same thing. You can completely flip everything from one side to the other. But if you move something from one side to the other, you have to inverse the sign. That's if you were to remove just one thing from that side instead of everything from that side. Okay, let's go on to the next problem. It's a solve for the variable and graph the solution. So with these, we're going to do the same thing like we did above, except whenever we're finished, we're going to graph the solution. So we see that there's parentheses, so our first step should be to distribute. So we're going to get m plus 5 times m is 5m. 5 times -1 is -5 equals 7. Now, next step, is there any terms to combine? Is there anything to combine on this side? Yes, there's an m and a 5m. We're going to add those together. We're going to get 6m minus 5 equals 7, and then we solve it. So we're going to add 5 to both sides, because we want to undo our addition and subtraction first. We get 6m equals 12, because 7 plus 5 is 12. Then to get m by itself, we have to divide out the 6. So we get m equals 12 divided by 6 is going to give you 2. So now I need to graph 2. So on our number line, and I'm not going to get too picky on my number line, I'm going to put 0 in the middle, 1, 2, 3. -1, -2, -3. I don't need to go too far. So anytime you are graphing a solution, it's just going to be a dot on that number, a solid dot. So I'm just going to graph a solid dot on number 2. And then it's going to be graphed. So I feel like graphing on these is pretty simple. Okay, next one. There's no parentheses to distribute, so I'm going to see if I can combine like terms. So on this side, is there anything I can combine? If you say 4a and -6a, you are correct. So positive 4a and a -6a, you're going to subtract them and keep the sign on the bigger numbers. You're going to get -2a minus 5 equals 15. Then you're going to solve it. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. You get -2a equals 20. Then I'm going to divide both sides by -2. Ooh, that does not look like a 2. So you're going to get a equals 20 divided by -2 is going to give you a -10. So do not forget that negative sign. So on the graph, I'm going to do 0. Then I'm just going to skip 1 and do 5. Skip 1 and do 10. And then I'm going to skip 1 and do -5. And I'm going to skip 1 and do -10. I can go up to -15 and 15. Okay. So it's negative 10. So on negative 10, I'm going to put a solid circle. I don't have to shade because these are not inequalities. We're going to talk about inequalities a little bit later. Okay, let's go on to the next page. So this stage, we're just going to be justifying our steps. So it looks like we have 3 examples to do. So we've been explaining what we've been doing the entire time. We're just going to be writing it down. So my first step is to distribute. So I'm going to get 2x plus 8 equals 24. So I just multiplied. So my first step I did, I distributed. So since I just did it to one side, I do not have to put POE. Now my next step, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. I'm going to get 2x equals 16. So what did I just do? I subtracted. I did it to both sides, so it's subtraction. POE. Okay, next to get x by itself, I need to divide. So I'm going to divide by 2, divided by 2. So I'm going to get x equals 16 divided by 2 is 8. So since I did it to both sides, it's going to be division. POE. Property of equality, since I did it to both sides. Okay, let's go down and do some more. So there's no distributing, so I need to see if I combine like terms. Yes, I can combine the negative 3 and the 4x. So negative 3 to positive 4 is going to give me an x minus 7 equals negative 19. So what I just did is I combined like terms. If you want to, you can abbreviate the CLT, combine like terms. That is what I'm going to allow you to abbreviate. And this one, we just need to add 7 to both sides. We get x equals negative 19 and a positive 7. Subtract, keep the sign on the bigger number. So 19 minus 7 is 12, and keep that negative. So this one only had one more step. So this one's going to be addition. POE, property of equality, since we did it to both sides. Okay, last problem. First step, we're going to distribute. So we're going to get 4t minus 16 plus 3t equals 26. So our justification is distribute. Next step, we can combine like terms. 4t and 3t is going to give you 7t minus 16 equals 26. So I combined like terms. I'm going to abbreviate it. Then we need to add 16 to both sides. We're going to get 7t equals 42. So this step we did addition. POE. That's a really bad E, but that's okay. And our last step to get t by itself is divide by 7. So I'm going to get t equals 6 because 42 divided by 7 is 6. And this is going to be division. POE, since I did it to both sides. Okay, that was our last problem. If you have any questions, please let me know and I will get them answered.